Is good, defenders? Welcome to episode 310. That's right. We finally hit the area code here in Los Angeles. 310 of Defenders of the Bank, the most LAFC podcast on earth. You know my voice. And this should be, we believe, the last solo scarf endeavor that you guys are going to have to deal with for quite a while. Thank you to everybody in the chat. We love you guys so much. You guys are already blowing up the chat. And yes, it was a bunch of Matty magic at BMO Stadium last night. A very good Colorado Rapids team comes into BMO Stadium and is rendered absolutely useless. The excellent defending by LAFC, a whole team defending. Kai Kamara was a standout at certain points on the defense. Aaron Long played extremely well, and our wingbacks just never get enough credit between Ryan Hollingshead and Sergi Palencia. And honestly, Hugo Lloris having to make one save and then kind of push something over the bar one other time. You could have had me back there, and we would have still won this game. I don't know if I'm making that one save that he makes because it was an incredible left-handed save, diving to his left. More on that in just a little bit. But, oh, my goodness, the way that LAFC has come out yesterday and this match against San Jose just a week or so ago, the assertiveness, the confidence on the ball, the willingness to possess, although there were still several times in this match where I think we let them have maybe a little bit too much possession, let them do a little bit too much with the ball in certain spots, especially towards the end of the first half. But the confidence, the absolute confidence that we are showing has just been incredible. Possessing the ball turns out to be a good thing, LAFC. Steve Cherundolo knows about that. We got here Jay Gutierrez saying Dolo out, died out pretty quick. Yeah, all those Dolo out people, you don't hear from them anymore. The team has absolutely come together. Genuine Cougar, I agree. The team has certainly gelled and just an incredible performance over these last two matches at home. Obviously, we know what looms next on the horizon. We get to travel to the Rose Bowl. Boo. No fun with that whatsoever. I'm super bummed that this match couldn't either be at SoFi Stadium or the Coliseum. If we're going to play a third one of these matches, then come on. Let's get this somewhere near our home, or at least a place that is a little bit more travel friendly for us. I don't know how many of our supporters are in and around the Rose Bowl area, but I know for sure and a lot of people in the chat are going to be surprised about this, I would still rather drive down to Carson for a match than to drive to Pasadena to play in the Rose Bowl. Because you know what? Carson's 15 minutes from my house. They had 25 years to come lure the scarf down into Dignity Health Sports Park, Home Depot Center, all the other iterations that it was. They were never able to do it. The atmosphere there, the fan-friendly environment just was never inviting. I didn't like a single match in terms of the overall experience. It was fun. I've been to plenty of Carson matches. You've heard me talk about this, and many of you out there, all the LAFC supporters, before there was LAFC, many of us did go to Carson matches because you know what? It was really fun to see the likes of Jorge Campos and Mauricio Cienfuegos and obviously Landon Donovan and David Beckham and Robbie Keane and all those other great players that they had. To me, it's a non-starter. It's a non-issue. Yeah, I've been to a lot of Carson matches. You know how many jerseys I ever bought? You know how many hats I ever bought? You know how many T-shirts I ever bought? Exactly zero, because I never wanted to buy in. I wanted to go see the match. But either way, it would have been nice had it been at SoFi. It would have been nice had it been at the Coliseum. But unfortunately, for whatever reason, we now play 2 straight matches, 2 straight years at the Rose Bowl. That'll be coming up on July 4th. And the tailgate situation is always a mess. The seating situation, it was nice that they were so separate last year. I felt like that was a good thing. But I don't like playing at the Rose Bowl. More on that in a little bit. Just want to remind everybody that the Mo Facio Futsal Court fundraising effort is still underway. LAFC.com/Mo-Facio for all of your Mo Facio Futsal Court fundraising needs, questions, concerns, comments, and that's the place to donate. I would suggest we'll keep the numbers small because it's summer. Everyone's trying to save a little bit so they can go maybe on an away day trip. I understand. How about we keep the number small? And if everybody listening heads on over to to LAFC.com/Mo-Facio. And how about we donate $6? $6 per person could get a ton of fundraising done in honor of Matty Bogusz becoming the 6th player in LAFC history to score a hat trick. And we will obviously talk way more about that hat trick in a little bit. Episode 310. So we got to talk about the 310 area code. We've been doing our little run up since about episode 300 on all the different little area codes. Obviously, everybody knows the 310 area code that is listening to this match or this episode, created November 2nd, 1991 on a split from the 213 area code 310. I am currently sitting in Lawndale, California, home of the Scarf. And yes, we are a 310 area code here, as well as most of you that are listening out there. Obviously, there's 213 and there's 424. And for those of you down in Long Beach, there's 562 and then there's the 818. But 310 is one of the staple area codes here in Los Angeles, California. So look, it's nice to be here on episode 310. I do miss my boy Philly. He obviously got back from vacation yesterday. He went to the match, got to the airport, got back in at 1 o'clock, rested up for just a little bit, and then headed to the match. So Philly was there yesterday. A lot of you saw him go live like he normally does on occasion from the stadium. So Philly and Amanda were both there. But look, it's nice to have him back. And next episode, we'll be ready to go. We're going to do a very quick This Day in LAFC history and one little bit of news to talk about from last week. This Day in LAFC history, obviously the match was Saturday, June 29th. But if you are listening live right now, then it's Sunday, June 30th. Happy Sunday to everybody. 30 days, has September, April, June, and November. It's the last day in June. July's coming up just tomorrow. So this will really feel like summer once July hits. But June 30th, 2024 is today. Let's go to the Wayback Machine and go to our first season, June 30th, 2018. And isn't it funny how these things tend to happen? Adama Diomande scoring the first hat trick in team history. We had a hat trick from Matty Bogusz yesterday. Well, June 30th, 2018 was 7 years ago from today, 6 years ago from today. My goodness. 7 years ago from today, 7 seasons ago from today. LAFC with our first ever hat trick. It is Adama Diomande over the Philadelphia Union. He scored in the 25th minute, the 43rd minute, and the 45th minute in a 4-1 victory over Philadelphia. Also a Latif Blessing goal in the 96th minute. Put that one away. 4-1, our win over Philadelphia in 2018 behind our first hat trick in club history by Adama Diomande, one of my all-time favorite players. Certainly miss Dio in MLS. But that being said, we flash forward to news and notes, and congrats to all 3 of our boys who made the team of match day 22. Those obviously all stemming from the San Jose Earthquakes and our butt kicking of them 6-2. Ryan Hollingshead and Matty Bogusz both named starters into the starting 11 for team of match day 22. And then Denis Bouanga on the bench. I have a feeling we're going to see more of Matty Bogusz as a starter for team of match day 23 after this performance. But very excited and happy for those 3 guys to be named to another team of the match day. And real quick, want to say a huge congratulations later today. In fact, in just a couple of hours at 2 o'clock, the girls over at Angel City Chicks will be recording their 100th episode. And I believe it's going to be live from BMO Stadium. Angel City FC and the girls have worked it out where they're going to be able to record their 100th episode. Congratulations to Nina and Amanda for getting to episode 100. So look, if you want all your Angel City news and notes, make sure you are following along with the Angel City Chicks. Angel City does play host to the league's #1 team, the Orlando Pride, later today at 4:30. So make sure you check out that match for Angel City. And again, a huge congratulations on episode 100 to both Nina and Amanda. And a quick update on LAFC 2. LAFC 2 have now won back-to-back matches at home, defeating the Town FC 2-0, and kind of coming back of sorts to defeat Colorado Rapids 3-2 on a late PK in stoppage time. Back-to-back home wins, 6 points in 2 matches for LAFC 2, have them at 27 points through, what are they on now? 14 matches? Yeah, 27 points through 14 matches. Good for 3rd place in the Western Conference of MLS Next Pro. Their next match is Saturday, July 6th in St. Louis City FC 2, playing host to our boys. So congratulations on a couple of wins. All right, folks, only 11 minutes. This is what happens when Philly's not here. We don't have our traditional banter. I do have a lot of people in the chat that are just awesome. Everybody on Instagram, we love you guys for joining in. It is just our numbers have been really good lately. We really appreciate it, guys. It's been wonderful. Of course, everything gets better when the team is playing better. So for all of you in the chat, thank you all for joining. Filipino Heritage Night at BMO Stadium last night. Another beautiful scarf designed by the team at LAFC and LAFC HQ. A t-shirt with it as well. And if you were one of the first 10,000 through the door, I think I have mine here. Oh, I should have had it ready. Hold on, disappearing scarf. I'm back. Look, this cute little guy. I put it in here. Hold on. Let's there. Hold on. There we go. And just like that. It's a cute little mini scarf. A little mini scarf. Thanks to everybody at Zippy Paws. I don't know if you can see that, but there you go. Zippy Paws. The first 10,000 people in the door got one of these little guys. One of the thrilling moments of the season for Defenders of the Bank is before the match on Christmas Tree Lane. We got to put our sticker on the jug over at the Expos tailgate, the Jungle Juice jug over there at the Expos tailgate. Our sticker went on the side. So thank you to everybody over at Expos for allowing us to do that, joining all of the other stickers that are there on the jug. Pretty cool that Defenders has our sticker on there as well. I've also enjoyed plenty out of that jug. So thank you for making that available to all of us on Christmas Tree Lane. And I just want to encourage everybody out there. If you have not been to a match, let's say you got a 7 o'clock match. Well, you know what? Get there at like noon or 1. Walk around to all the different supporters groups out there. They are so incredibly inviting, warm, and supportive. They want you to enjoy your time out there on Christmas Tree Lane. If you have not had the experience of getting to a match early, and look, there is some of the best pasta you'll ever have. They had pasta and pizza next to the guys over at D9U. That was incredible. Every single week, there seems to be a different supporters group providing a different bit of yumminess out there. I mean, some of the best tacos and quesadillas that you'll have. The birria is fantastic. Everybody all the time. And occasionally there's also something to drink out there on Christmas Tree Lane as well. If you're into that kind of thing, I don't know what it is. I don't know what they're talking about, but it sounds wonderful. But honestly, it is a wonderful time out there on Christmas Tree Lane. We are always right next to Cuervo's and one of the newer tents that have popped up, Watts Authentics. We are in between those two guys. So if you ever see the Cuervo's, you'll see us. You'll see Watts Authentics. That's really cool. Our neighbors in Cuervo's have been wonderful to us for years now. It's just an incredible piece of the culture of this club. It really does set it apart from any other sporting experience, not just in Los Angeles, but I mean, look, you can go all over Major League Soccer and not find what you'll feel out on Christmas Tree Lane. So head out to Christmas Tree Lane. The tailgates are really fun. They have been getting a little bit smaller as of late, so we want more people to come out there and experience that beautiful culture. The drum circle that happens right before they march into the match is amazing. So make sure you head on out to Christmas Tree Lane. You can check out our sticker over on the Expos jug. We have an orange igloo cooler that always happens to have some bit of refreshments in it. We also have plenty of water available as well. So I think this is, I think it's one of the things that really does truly set us apart. I love that comment by JLA. How did we end up with top youth European talent? I think JT just might be a mythical creature of sorts. I've met him. He seems real. John Thorrington, very nice guy. He does seem real, but I agree. The talent that we have on this club, players like Matty Bogusz, players like Kiki Oliveira, players like David Martinez, players that have come through the system, players that I think are very good, like Nathan Ordaz and Eric Duenas. It's just the best. It is absolutely incredible that we have such good young talent here. Obviously, Denis Bouanga, a player of his caliber, Olivier Giroud and Hugo Lloris, these players that are coming in, massive names from around the world. John Thorrington and company seem to be doing things right. Had a wonderful conversation with our new technical director as well. He is a super nice dude. Oh, my goodness. Loved chatting with him at the LAFC 2 match and then saw him again yesterday at the match as well. Just one of those, the people that we are putting in our front office surrounding John Thorrington and Larry Friedman and Stacey Johns and everybody who runs everything there at the club, all of our ownership group, they're all extremely personable, extremely approachable, and they're all really good people. I know Philly is very happy that Tony Robbins is no longer part of the ownership group, and there you go. But really good people surrounding this club, and the stewardship of this club is in very, very good hands by wonderful people. All right, back to the match. Let's talk about Colorado and what happened to the Rapids, because they got calmed easily and quickly. It was a beautiful team effort by this club. Wonderful to watch the 90 minutes or so. There were only one or two moments of consternation at all over the course of the entire match. And the only one that really mattered, the left paw of Hugo Lloris said, "No soup for you today, Georgi Mihailovic." We will talk about all of that. We're not quite going to do our typical minute by minute by minute by minute breakdown. We're going to focus on just those moments that either were pivotal in the match or showed some things that I think we want to either clean up or see more of in the future. Chris Armas, the head coach for Colorado, he has now been there for a couple of seasons, replacing the fired Robin Fraser. And look, he's doing good things for Colorado. They came into this match 9-7-4 overall. 31 points through 20 matches, fourth place in the Western Conference. The turnaround, although, look, I still remember that 5-1 shellacking they gave us when they were the top team in the West, when they had Robin Fraser as the coach. I was in the building to watch us get eliminated from the playoffs that day, 5-1. Colorado's been a solid team for the last several seasons, but unfortunately, getting over the hump for them has proven to be very, very difficult. That Colorado team that was number one in the West did flame out in the first round of MLS Cup playoffs that year. This is a good team, 4 wins on the road. They win as much on the road as any other team in Major League Soccer, or at least in the West. No other team has more than 4 wins on the road in the West coming into this. Spoiler alert, they would not get number 5. Not even close. It would not go well for the Colorado Rapids. But hey, when you have a Western Conference leading 4 wins on the road coming in, you got to watch out for this club. We obviously know the talent that they have. We'll talk about them more in a little bit. They score a lot of goals, but they also give up a lot of goals. 38 goals scored is good. Tied with us coming into the match, and Carson for second most behind Real Salt Lake. 32 goals allowed is bad. That's third worst, in the West coming into this. So not great for Colorado in terms of giving up goals, but solid for scoring goals, +6, obviously solid on the season. They looked good coming into the match, but again, I said on One More Sleep that might be a little bit of a smokescreen. Yes, they've won their last 3 matches by an aggregate total of 9-1. Zach Steffen playing pretty well. The back line staying pretty taut and strong for them, and scoring 9 goals in 3 matches is great. But that being said, I think it was a bit of a smokescreen. If you look past those 3 matches and look at their 5 previous matches before those 3, they were winless in those 5 matches. They gave up 3 goals twice. They gave up 5 goals once. And it really looked like a club that was in disarray. Now, they found themselves over 3 matches. They wound up coming in on a nice little win streak. But unfortunately, it came to an end at BMO Stadium. However, let's all think back to March 30th. This will be, yes, Noe Perez smokescreen, like our second kit. which I don't like. I've never liked that green kit. It's just not for me. It's not my jam. This is scarf. It's just not what I love. I can't wait to see our third kit that's going to be coming out soon. The vintage MLS kit, the homage. Look, we've all seen the leaks out there, right? If you haven't seen the leaks, head on over to our Twitter or Instagram page. By the way, we've posted it. A lot of other people have posted it. An homage to the LA Aztecs. Can't wait for the third kit. I've already seen the shoes. The shoes are beautiful. I have not seen the kit, the jacket, the shorts, anything else that have come out or are going to be coming out, but it's coming out soon. So save up your pennies and get ready for that new third kit. Can't wait. All the leaks are relatively real, which is nice. So I would like to see it in person myself. But let's go back to March 30th. We'll talk about March 30th one other time later in this podcast. But March 30th, LAFC traveled to Dick's Sporting Goods Park and lost 3-2 to this very same Colorado Rapids club. Now, look, winning on the road is hard. Getting points on the road is hard. So I appreciate all of the people that are saying, oh, they already beat us once and everything else. But this is a very different Colorado team. And this is a very, very different LAFC club since that match on the 30th. Obviously, we know May 4th was the last time LAFC lost a match of any kind throughout all competitions. We are now unbeaten in 11, and more on that in a little bit. I love that. A brace from Georgi Mihailovic in that 3-2 victory for Colorado did make things a little bit more difficult for us coming into the match. Certainly a player that we wanted to make sure we watch. Yes, Noe, your question, the away game, the Rose Bowl game is an away game for LAFC. I believe it's a home game for Carson. I don't think it's an away game for both. So someone's got to be the home team, and it is certainly Carson when we go to the Rose Bowl. Ruben, more on the Supporter Shield in a minute. You guys in the chat are firing it up, and I absolutely love it. Also on Instagram, love you right back, Bruisers. Thank you guys for joining in. Oh, the 909 and the 626. People are chiming in with area codes out there. I apologize. Yes, the reach of Defenders of the Bank sometimes eludes Scarf's tiny brain at times. The 909 and the 626. Can't forget about that, of course. The 909, I believe, is home to the area code where Philly calls matches for the Empire Strikers along with Jonathan. So, yeah, don't want to forget the 909 or the 626. JLA has a quick question for starters. Look, I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see who starts once Olivier Giroud comes in. It could be that Olivier Giroud maybe comes off the bench for the first couple of matches, but no, I think I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Edward Atuesta. Edward Atuesta played a much better match here against Colorado. He needs to show much more in the way of maturity. He needs to show much more in the way of really being able to contribute more often to what we need to do on the offensive side of things. I think he's been fine defensively. Timothy Tillman has been great but quiet as of late. Remember, don't forget, guys, first 12 matches or so of this season, Timothy Tillman was our unquestioned MVP. He was playing better than he had ever played before. It was before Denis Bouanga really got on this heater, before he and Matty Bogusz decided that they were going to share the same brain and do incredible things out there on the pitch together. So I don't know. I'm not so sure I agree that our midfield is going to stay intact look, it's an embarrassment of riches, right? It's a nice problem to have. It's very likely that Kai Kamara will no longer be starting. It's very likely that somebody from the midfield is going to have to drop back with Kike Oliveira and Denis Bouanga on the wings and Olivier Giroud playing in the middle. That means Matty Bogusz, who has to stay on the pitch at all times for all reasons. It means that he'll have to move back to the midfield. So that leaves Timothy Tillman, Matty Bogusz, Ilie Sanchez, and Edward Atuesta, 4 players for 3 spots. So it'll be interesting to see who that player is. I have feelings on it, and I think it will be Ilie Sanchez, but more on that in a little bit. Ilie probably played his best match of the season, though, yesterday against Colorado. Those through balls, that ball over the top, he was incredible. Let's get into it because it was an absolute fireworks fest at BMO Stadium, the 3-0 win. Colorado coming in, missing one of their better players, defender Moishe Bombito, And if you know anything about Moishe Bombito, you've obviously heard his name recently linked to death threats and all kinds of stuff online because of a hard tackle on Lionel Messi. And everybody lost their minds when he tackled Messi because, God forbid, you touch the GOAT in any way, shape, or form. He got an awful ration of garbage, a bunch of racist stuff, a bunch of death threats and everything. Feeling very badly from Moishe Bombito for sure. He is with Canada's men's national team, El Maple Tree, as we call them on here. So no Moishe Bombito, but everybody else ready to roll for Colorado, who comes out in their 4-2-3-1 with former U.S. men's national team keeper darling Zach Steffen. And oh, how the mighty have fallen. Zach Steffen, not one of the three keepers called into camp. In fact, being passed over by Sean John, of all people. Sean Johnson is our third keeper. Ethan Horvath, number 2, and Matty Ice, Matt Turner, our starting keeper for the U.S. men's national team. So not even in the picture anymore. Zach Steffen. Maybe he should converse with our LAFC 2 keeper, David Ochoa, on falls from grace. But we'll see. The defenders, the 4 on the back line, MLS veterans Keegan Rosenberry and Lawless Abubakar, along with a Danish center back, Andreas Maxu, who is one of the 3 designated players for the Colorado Rapids. Very interesting that Colorado uses one of their 3 DP spots on the Danish center back, Andreas Maxu. And then defender Sam Vines, their left back on the outside. He will likely be part of either the World Cup or the Olympics moving forward. He is a very, very good young player, although he really didn't show much last night. In the midfield, another good young player is coming back into his own, Cole Bassett, with 6 goals coming in. But I did not know he was on the pitch last night because of the way that we played. An incredible job. Connor Ronan also in the midfield, and up top, the 3 and the 1 of the 4-2-3-1 that they like to run was Calvin Harris. Calvin Harris, the number 2 overall pick in the 2021 MLS Super Draft. The reason why I like to watch Calvin Harris is because he shares a birthday with Scarf. He's only 21 years younger than I am. All right, born March 20th, 2004. Happy birthday, Calvin Harris. We share a birthday. Georgi Mihailovic, who much talked about, one of only a handful of players in Major League Soccer coming into the match with 8 goals and 8 assists or more in each category. Very, very good player who had their best chance of the night for sure. Forward Kevin Cabral, yes, the former Galaxy man, the designated player for the Rapids. Oh, Kevin Cabral, we will talk about you in a little bit, my friend. You were naughty and you had to go home early. No soup for you. And their designated player, 24-year-old from Brazil. Talk about good young talent in Major League Soccer. He is certainly one of the players that you talk about. Rafael Navarro, the 24-year-old Brazilian with 11 goals on the season. He is a very, very, very good player, but you didn't know that from the way that he or the Rapids played over the course of these 90 minutes. Did not play well. In the 18, Oliver Larraz, Michael Edwards, Omir Fernandez, Jasper Lawfulson, and Darren Yappy are the 5 that would come off the bench for LAFC. Rinse and repeat from San Jose. Hugo Lloris, Ryan Hollingshead, Jesus Murillo, Aaron Long, Sergi Palencia, Timothy Tillman, Ilie Sanchez, Edward Atuesta, Denny Boanga, Kai Kamara, and Matty Bogusz, the 5 players that we would see come off the bench, and we would see all 5, were Eddie Segura, Eric Duenas, Tomas Angel, Maxime Chanot, and the return, more on him in a little bit, of David Martinez. David Martinez coming back off the bench to get his first minutes in quite a long time. Out for this match, Kiki Oliveira on international duty with Uruguay. It's going to be real interesting to see what happens to the U.S. men's national team. Brian Rodriguez and Kiki Oliveira and the rest of Uruguay coming in to face the U.S. to potentially eliminate us from the from Copa America. It's going to be interesting. Questionable and not in the 18 for this match was Luis Muller with a little bit of a hip injury. And yes, Jason and all of you guys talking about the Rose Bowl and the match in Carson. More on that in a little bit. Galaxy Man 92. Thanks for joining the chat. I'm glad you're able to come and hang out and watch us do our thing over on Instagram. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, let's get into the match. And it took all of 3 minutes for something significant to happen. I didn't know it would be as significant as it was when it did happen, but Kevin Cabral, a late challenge on Ilie, and he picks up a yellow card just 3 minutes in. Visions of how angry I was at Eric Duenas for picking up the early yellow card in Austin must have been dancing through Colorado Rapids' heads, because this was an early yellow card by a relatively undisciplined player. More on him in a minute, but Kevin Cabral. In the 12th minute, can we just give a little clap to our man Ilie Sanchez? A beautiful ball over the top to Denis Bouanga, just perfectly weighted right on his foot. Denis able to turn on it and fire at goal. But Zach Steffen making the first of several really good saves by Zach Steffen in this match. An absolutely beautiful dime by Ilie Sanchez. Please go back and watch the 12th minute and this beautiful over-the-top ball from Ilie Sanchez, in my opinion. Ilie Sanchez playing his best match of the season in all aspects. The way he helped out holding as that holding mid, kind of controlling possession. The way he dropped back through most of the match to help out on defense. And some of the passes that he made were just touch perfect every single time. I love the chat going on. I'm going to put up JLA's. There's chat going on while I'm talking about stuff, and it's not always about what I'm talking about, but I want to mention this real quick. The fact that both teams, Carson and LAFC, are tied in points at the very top should make it the most anticipated El Tráfico outside the playoffs. I agree. I love it. It's going to be a really fun match, but we'll talk about that later at the end of the podcast, guys. Hold on. We'll get there. 14th minute, something else that I wanted to mention, and it happened the first time. It happened in the 14th minute. It happened 4 or 5 other times throughout the match as well. The fact that we are using Jesus Murillo and Kai Kamara so well on a lot of these set pieces now. You have one of the players going to the front post, one of the players going to the back post, or one player heading to the back post and one staying in the middle. Now you have 2 aerial threats on these set pieces in Murillo and Kai Kamara that you have to watch out for, the first of which happened in the 14th minute as the corner from Edward Atuesta found the dome of Jesus Murillo. Even though Murillo put it over the bar, there were several times throughout this match where we found either Kamara or Murillo at the front post, in the middle, at the back post. So now you have clubs that not only have to watch out for a player like, for instance, who wasn't there, Kiki Oliveira, or a player like Matty Bogusz or Denis Bouanga. And we already know what Kai Kamara can do in the open field should he have received a penalty kick in this match as well. More on that. But you have all of those different weapons, but now you have to account for the aerial supremacy of players like Kai Kamara and Jesus Murillo. I absolutely love the way that we are using them now more effectively. Steve Cherundolo talked about in a press conference a couple of matches ago that LAFC had to figure out a way to better use a player with the talents of Kai Kamara. And I think what that has now spilled into is that we are seeing Jesus Murillo be used more effectively in that way as well. So you've got 2 players that you have to account for at all times. Hopefully Murillo can stay on the pitch as a defender. Maxime Chanot did come in later on in this match. Eddie Segura came in later on in this match. But it looks like they're really going to be trusting the pairing of Murillo and Long moving forward. Our back line has not changed, at least over the last 2 matches for sure. So good on them. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out. In the 14th minute, that was the first time that we saw it. We would see it throughout many, 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 many other times in this match. Let's just talk about the build-up first. In the 20th minute, LAFC scoring our first goal on a beautiful build-up. The throw-in was perfect, and the ball from Ilie Sanchez. Ilie doing dirty things. That through ball perfectly weighted to a sprinting Denis Bouanga, a perfectly weighted through ball, a perfectly weighted through ball to the foot of Denis Bouanga. And now all of a sudden, if you're Zach Steffen, you've got a full sprinting Denis Bouanga staring at you, ball on his foot. And what does the rating Golden Boot winner decide to do? Oh, pick out Matty Bogusz on the opposite post, who's also in a full sprint with a heavily weighted ball right to the foot of Matty. Both Matty and the ball go sprawling into the goal. Are you kidding me? Denis Bouanga with another unselfish play, his 9th assist on the season, and I believe 5 of those 9 assists have now gone on to score goals for Matty Bogusz. Are you kidding me? Our best offensive player is also our most unselfish player. What is happening in the land of LAFC? Denis Bouanga with the assist, Matty Bogusz with the goal, the secondary assist to Ilie on that beautiful through ball. And just like that, LAFC up 1-0. Matty Bogusz, what's significant about that is he ties Lucho Acosta for the longest goal contribution streak in the MLS regular season. He now has a goal or an assist in 9 straight MLS regular season matches. And oh, by the way, that also equals the club record of 9 straight. Back in 2019, Carlos Vela scored a goal in every single one of the last 9 matches of the season. So congrats to Matty Bogusz for equaling history with LAFC and for equaling the longest streak in the league this season with his 9th goal contribution, 9th straight match with a goal contribution, I should say. And yes, that puts Matty Bogusz in double digits for goals on the year. That's 10 goals for Matty Bogusz already on the season. I did not see this coming at the beginning of the season. I genuinely did not. I'm so happy for Matty Bogusz that he was able to kind of really come into his own this season. Not kind of, he has absolutely come into his own. Look, in the 35th to the 37th minute, I think we let the Rapids have a lot more possession towards the end of the half than we would have liked. Maybe LAFC just wanted to practice defending for a while. I don't know. But I felt like for the last 10 minutes or so of the half, we really let Colorado maybe possess the ball a little bit too much. Maybe we stayed back. Maybe we conserved ourselves for what we thought was going to be a second half run. But I just didn't like the amount of possession that we gave Colorado over the last 10 minutes or so. A little sign of life for them in the 35th minute as Navarro, their Brazilian designated player, nearly put one on frame from about 30 yards out. But Hugo was there anyway, kind of diving to his right, realizing where he was, didn't need to touch the ball. It was like the first real sign of life, in my opinion, from Colorado in a little bit. And in the 37th minute, Sam Vines from outside the box on the left side, and Hugo just kind of had to touch it over the bar. I don't think it was going to be on net. It was certainly going to hit crossbar rather than anything else. But rather than take any chances with it, Hugo decides to just punch it over the bar. The half would end 1-0. And not only were there no goals in the half by the Colorado Rapids, there were also no shots on target allowed in the half. Colorado Rapids not even able to put one on frame over the course of the first 45 minutes. Excellent team defending, excellent passing by LAFC. My only critique was that we maybe let them possess the ball a little bit more than I would have liked. But other than that, look, when you're up 1-0 at the half, you take it, you move on. You'd much rather be up 1-0 than down 1-0 at the half. Duh. But I think, I really do think that it gave Steve, and Ruben mentions it in the chat right now, it gave Steve a little something to talk about at the half. Hey, maybe we let them possess a little bit too much than we should have. But you know what? We're defending set pieces so much better. I also just don't think Colorado has a lot of aerial weaponry and a lot of things that LAFC was necessarily worried about on set pieces. We are defending them much, much better. We begin the second half. A little bit of a controversy at the start of the second half. Just 4 minutes in the 49th minute, Kai Kamara sprung beautifully by a pass. And oh, how I wanted this to be the next on his way to 171. I know he said he's not going to get there, but still, I'd love to see him get to 150 in black and gold. That would be pretty cool. Second player in league history ever to get to 150. Kai Kamara, it looked like he was given a little bit of a push in the back by Lawless Abubakar. Maybe he should have been given a penalty shot. He certainly stood up and wanted a PK. It was a solid save by Zach Steffen, but it's a lot easier to save the ball when the guy who's shooting is pushed while he was shooting. Maybe should have been a penalty for Kai Kamara. It would have been really interesting, by the way, to see who would have taken that penalty. Obviously, Denis Bouanga on a bit of a heater this season, going after his second golden boot. Matty Bogusz, maybe they would have let him line up for the PK as he had already scored one. Or you have the veteran himself, number 2 all-time leading scorer, Kai Kamara. I think they would have let Kai Kamara take it because he's the one that would have earned it. You put it on Kai Kamara after he earns you the PK. But you know what? It's all conjecture and speculation because they didn't call the PK like they should have. Chris Penso actually refereed a very good game. And yes, I am saying something nice about the MLS Pro referees, but still, I would have loved to have seen a PK there and to see what would have happened with Kai Kamara. In the 51st minute, someone had to wake Hugo Lloris up because he was needed, and it was a huge save. It would have been so frustrating, Defenders Nation. How frustrating would have been in the 51st minute after we dominate the first 50 minutes. Plenty of good chances, plenty of reasons to score more than one. Obviously, we're up 1-0. But Georgi Mihailovic, who kind of was able to walk in a little bit on that right-hand side, it was a beautiful diving save by Hugo Lloris, using his left hand, diving to his left. But, you know, Georgie, it was kind of a back-and-forth ball, nice little give and go. And Georgie able to get plenty of space and get inside. I know the ball deflected and came back to Mihailovic as well. But how frustrating would it have been on really their only solid chance of the half thus far, and one of the very few chances that we would have given up over the course of the match. That's why a 1-0 lead is dangerous. And when you have a club like this, Colorado, just asking to be put away, you really can't allow something like that. But I'm telling you, when that's the only shot on target you give up over the entire 90 minutes plus stoppage, you must be doing something right. Unbelievable that we were able to keep them to just one shot on target. And it was that one, a big save by Hugo Lloris, preserving the clean sheet, keeping the lead, and really tempering the frustration that it would have been had we drawn level 1-1. But we mentioned putting them away. Flash forward 7 minutes later to the 58th minute. On the left side, goal for LAFC as Denis Bouanga kind of comes in on the left, meandered into the box. It was kind of one of those, oh, don't worry, genuine Cougar. I'll talk more about clean sheets and Hugo Lloris in just a minute. Denis kind of meanders into the box, looks for his shot, takes it, it gets blocked. And this is one of those where you think, all right, Denis is going to come back around on it, get a second shot. Well, coming out of nowhere on the Apple TV broadcast, he came from off screen on with that left foot. We saw him come in from the top of the box. Matty Bogusz with an absolute rocket with the left foot from Matty Bogusz. His second of the match, his 11th on the season. Zach Steffen caught flat-footed as he was no doubt looking at Denis Bouanga and what he was going to do. But me, oh my, oh wowie. That was a beautiful shot. Tucked it into the right corner. Denis Bouanga Matty Bogusz with his second goal of the match, and it was a great one. But I want to point out one small thing that I saw that I loved so much. As Denis Bouanga is coming in from that left side and he cuts back in, that little meandering move that he did, Ryan Hollingshead makes an outside overlapping run on Denis. And in my opinion, it's Hollingshead's overlapping run that you look that might have freed up a little bit of that space in the middle for Matty Bogusz to be able to come back to that ball. If Ryan Hollingshead maybe overlaps that run inside or doesn't make the overlapping run to the outside and just kind of stays back in a defensive position, then I don't think Matty Bogusz has that extra little window that he needed to hit that ball perfectly and put it into the right corner. Either way, LAFC up 2-0. 2-0. I could not believe the goal by Matty Bogusz. Denis Bouanga getting stifled. But again, you're looking at 2 goals, 11 on the season. Matty Bogusz is on fire. Just 1 minute later, by the way, another near miss for Colorado. And I want to point this near miss out. They didn't have a ton of chances throughout this match, obviously. But this near miss is something that we saw San Jose score a goal on, and something that I believe it was also how I forget the guy's name that scored against us for Las Vegas Lights. He was that journeyman player, Kevin something or other, I think. I think it's how they scored as well. I'm going to have to go back and watch. Maybe I'm mixing up 2 of the different goals. But in the 59th minute, Keegan Rosenberry is allowed to kind of walk down the right side of the pitch. And in the box, he picks out a relatively wide open Kevin Cabral. And this beautifully weighted cross from Keegan Rosenberry, Cabral putting it just over the bar. It wasn't a good effort by Cabral, but this is how San Jose scored. I believe it was their second goal of that match, of the 6-2. This little cross, as he was able to walk in, LAFC not doing a great job of defending that back post or even the middle of the box on some of these little 1v1 crosses that we're seeing. I think it's something that Steve Cherundolo is going to be looking at going into this match against Carson at the Rose Bowl. It's these small things that, look, a team like Colorado unable to put away, but as you face better teams and better competition, there are a couple of times where you're like, maybe that would have resulted in a goal. And it's a very different feel if you're playing this game 1-1 or 2-2, because you know you've dominated so much of the match. But luckily, it was Kevin Cabral on the other end of it. More from our friend Kevin Cabral in just a moment. In fact, 3 minutes later, in the 62nd minute, another silly tackle, this one right near the midfield stripe, and it is a second yellow for Kevin Cabral, and Colorado now going down a man for the last 30 minutes or so of the match. And it only took LAFC 10 minutes to respond. Go back and watch this goal again, everybody. 72nd minute against Colorado. The touch passing, the beautiful run. This was something fresh off the training ground. Are you kidding me? Matty Bogusz to Timothy Tillman to Kai Kamara, back to Matty Bogusz, and just like that, as Vin Scully said, if you have a sombrero, throw it to the sky. Well, if you have one, throw it on the pitch. It's a Hatty for Matty. Are you kidding me? The buildup, the passing, the accuracy, the speed in which LAFC was able to make this goal happen. They were able to execute 4 beautiful passes, a couple more in the buildup as well, but still 4 beautiful passes. Bogusz to Tillman to Kamara, back to Bogusz. The little touch from Kai Kamara put it right on the foot. Nothing Zach Steffen could do. Oh my goodness, what a play. When you have a guy like Kai Kamara who can make the touch passes like that. When you have a player like Denis Bouanga who makes the touch pass to Matty Bogusz for a goal. We're talking about 2 of the best goal scorers in the league and in the league's history in Denis Bouanga and, of course, Kai Kamara. And they're the ones setting up a player like Matty Bogusz? Come on. Come on. How much better can it get for LAFC? It was so much fun last night. Matty Bogusz becoming the 6th LAFC player, and, of course, it reads like a greatest hits record, the 6th LAFC player to record a hat trick, and you can name them all with me. Carlos Vela, Diego Rossi, Adama Diomande, Chicho Arango, Denis Bouanga, and now Matty Bogusz. Will Matty Bogusz go down in the club's history and lore the way the likes of many of those other names have? An incredible moment. And you know what I have to say to Matty Bogusz? Stop it. Stop it. Why do I say stop it? I don't want to lose you. I don't want to lose you to some other club at the July deadline. What if somebody comes to John Thorrington and everybody else and decides, hey, you know what? We'll go ahead and throw $5 million, $7 million, $8 million your way. for Matty Bogusz. Does John Thornton make that move in July? Does John Thornton break up the band in July if somebody comes to try to get Matty Bogusz? I'm just saying he's playing as well as anybody in Major League Soccer right now. He's scoring. He's assisting. He's playing great as a midfielder. He's playing great as a striker. I mean, come on. What can we do to keep this guy for the rest of this, what could be another MLS Cup run? Imagine playing in back-to-back-to-back MLS Cup finals. Imagine being able to get that one at BMO. I'm just saying, what do we have to do to keep Matty Bogusz? Stop being so good. I mean, look, keep being so good. Do what you need to do against Carson. Do what you need to do for the rest of the season. Keep playing. Keep scoring goals. Keep firing all the assists. Keep doing everything you've been doing. I'm going to be very sad when you leave because, as we all know, Black and Gold Nation watching this match, we all know that it is going to be just a matter of time. In fact, it could be the January window where Matty goes for real. I'm hoping it's not the July window, but for a player the likes of which we have with Matty Bogusz, with 12 goals now on the season, a whole boatload of assists, and the way that he has been playing has been absolutely incredible. I would be devastated to lose Matty Bogusz, obviously, at this point in the season, as we are all set to go on a bit of a run. We have a gauntlet of games coming up, y'all. Stick around at the end of the podcast. It is frightening, the amount of games that we have to play in July. Absolutely frightening, but more on that in a minute. We're only in the 72nd minute. Let's talk about a couple of subs. Eric Duenas coming on for Timothy Tillman in the 73rd minute. In the 79th minute, it's a line change for LAFC. 3 substitutions. Tomas Angel for a Matty Bogusz standing ovation. The place went nuts in the 79th minute when Matty Bogusz came off for Tomas Angel. Ilie Sanchez comes off for steady Eddie Segura. And Maxime Chanot comes on for Kai Kamara. That means you have 6 defenders out there for LAFC. Obviously, the 4 that started the match on the back line are still out there. And then you've got Eddie Segura playing that midfielder role that Ilie Sanchez was playing. Maxime Chanot also kind of like dropping back, playing a midfielder role, also played up top as a striker a little bit. It was really interesting to watch the last 10 minutes to see how Eddie Segura, Maxime Chanot, Ryan Hollingshead, Sergi Palencia, even Aaron Long at times dipping in forward a little bit. That was kind of fun to watch us play with 6 defenders out on the pitch at that time. You have 6 defenders against just 10 players for Colorado. It's almost not fair. And in the 84th minute, the last thing I want to talk about, the last time LAFC played Colorado, I should say, was a 3-2 loss at Dick's Sporting Goods Park on March 30th. The other significant event on March 30th, that was the David Martinez, the red card and goal. And the last time we saw David Martinez out on the pitch for LAFC in an MLS match, that was March 30th. Well, in the 84th minute, Denis Bouanga comes off, David Martinez comes on, and just like that, his first action since the last time we played the Rapids is now against Colorado once again. He looked fine in 6 minutes. Nothing really to speak of, although he was moving very well. Looks like the back issue that plagued him. And yes, from what we heard, there was a broken vertebrae or a broken bone in his back from what we heard. So everybody breathe on the conspiracy theorist of, wow, Steve Cherundolo certainly has a long time of putting David Martinez in the doghouse since he got that red card. Was he also in the doghouse while he was hurt? Sure, absolutely. But that being said, he made, like Genuine Cougar says, made a lot of good passes, did a lot of good things out there in the 6 minutes that he was out there for sure. So it was nice to see David Martinez back out there on the pitch, maybe giving Carson something to think about in just a few days where he has to come onto the pitch. You have to account for him. Oh, who knows what's going to happen with Kike Oliveira and how long he will be gone. But either way, It was an incredible match, 90 minutes in the books, 3-0 LAFC. LAFC now unbeaten in 11 straight. Maybe there's a little bit of a hashtag blame scarf, as the only match that we have drawn in this 11 straight is the one that I was at in Austin, the 1-1 draw, 10-0-1 in our last 11 matches. We have outscored the opposition 28-5 in those 11 matches, 28-5, undefeated at BMO, defending the bank as always on the season, 9 wins, 2 draws. That is an incredible 29 points from 33 at home. You want to know how to make the playoffs every year? You want to know how to host a playoff match every year by being top 4? You want to know how to bite at the heels of Lionel Messi and Luis Suarez for the supporter shield, despite the powerhouse in pink that is happening over in Fort Lauderdale? It's winning your matches at home. And we are 9-0-2 at home. Hugo Lloris, genuine Cougar, to your question earlier. Hugo Lloris making the one save, giving him eight clean sheets on the season, just one behind Charlotte's Christian Kalina for the MLS lead. What's happening, Beto? How are you? Thank you guys for joining the chat. Absolutely incredible. Hugo Lloris, who started off very slow. Maybe there were some questions through the first 10 or 12 matches. Well, now he is one clean sheet away from the league lead, and he is not having to work very hard at times to do it. Just one shot on target for Colorado over the course of the 90 minutes. Now, everybody take a breath. We have a lot of games left to play. Our next match is July 4th. And then after that, it is a gauntlet. You guys ready for this? Sit tight. Make sure you're seated. Don't hold your breath. July 4th. July 7th. July 10th, the U.S. Open Cup match against New Mexico. July 13th. 4th, 7th, 10th, 13th. Those are all 3 days apart. July 17th, 4 days later. July 20th, 3 days later. Before Leagues Cup on July 26th and the 30th. Those 2 games are 4 days apart. We are talking about playing 8 matches over the course of 26 days. 8 matches over 26 days. Most of those matches coming 3 days apart. Now, there have been rumors that they are going to move the home match that we play, the road match that we play in Houston. Here's the good part. Of those matches, July 4th, July 4th, July 7th, July 10th, July 13th, 17th, 20th, 26th, and the 30th, we're talking about 8 matches. Only 2 of those, not including the Rose Bowl, we're still in LA, whatever. Only 2 of those are matches we actually have to travel to. And it's not that bad. Going to Houston on July 7th, if that match stays where it is, and going to Seattle on July 20th. Not terrible travel. Okay, not terrible travel. It's not like we're crisscrossing the country the way we did last season, playing 2 and 3 games a week. But 8 matches in 26 days is going to be a real stretch of our club's health. We must stay healthy over that time. We are 1 or 2 small injuries away from that depth now becoming a liability. And yes, we have played our way into some depth. LAFC now on the top spot in the West. 12 wins being the tiebreaker over Carson's 11, 40 points through 20 matches. Obviously, that's 2 points per match. 41 goals, tied for most in the West. 23 goals allowed, tied for fewest in the West. We are scoring more goals than anybody. We are giving up as few goals as any other club out there. And in the race for the Shield, if you are interested, Miami has 44, LAFC has 40. FC Cincinnati has 42. And LAFC has 40 points. LAFC third in the league in points per match as well with 2. Just want to also remind you that we have a game in hand on Miami. So it's really FC Cincinnati who controls their supporter shield lives. We're really chasing them, but obviously still chasing Miami because they are ahead of us. Actually, I think we might be chasing both clubs. Never mind. Forget what I just said. We're still 1 point behind with that game in hand from Miami. So, oops. It's been a long night and a long day. But that being said,
y'all, this is a club that is on a bit of a historic streak right now. They are looking as good as they have ever looked. They are playing as good as they have ever played in club history, scoring goals, not giving up goals. It has been a beautiful run over these last 11 matches, 10-0-1, the only draw coming at Austin. We are defending the bank as good as ever, 9-0-2. And now we head to the Rose Bowl. And again, you're going to hear me, you're going to hear Philly say this over and over again. For all of you traveling to the Rose Bowl, be safe and be smart. Stay together. And just, we all want to get home at the end of the day. We all want to tailgate a little bit, eat and drink with our friends, go and watch the match. We also all just want to get home at the end of the day. So be safe and be smart out there as we head to the Rose Bowl. It is a miserable trek to go up into the Rose Bowl. It is part of what Dante wrote about in his Inferno. It is in one of the realms of hell, one of the rings of hell that he talks about. It is awful. Going to the Rose Bowl is terrible. But we hope to see all of you there at the Rose Bowl. And look, we've still got some trophies to win, folks. U.S. Open Cup. There's only 8 teams left. New Mexico standing in our way. July 10th. Don't forget about the U.S. Open Cup. Leagues Cup. We got those matches on the 26th and the 30th against Xolos and the Vancouver Whitecaps, you guys. Don't forget, like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Head on over to defendersofthebank.com. Go to the shop. Maybe buy a t-shirt or a sweatshirt or a tank top or something else cool. We're going to have new designs. Our buddy Dexter Quinn, who does all of our amazing episode covers, our graphics, our t-shirt designs. He and I work together on some of those. He does an incredible job. We're coming up with some new stuff, you guys. We're coming up with some new stuff. And more importantly, next episode 311, it's going to have Philly back. We're going to have Philly. I miss him so much. I love him so much. He's already back from vacation. So wipe the sleep out of your eyes, sleepyhead, and get ready to be here for episode 311, guys. We love you so much. Thank you all for being a part of Defenders Nation and for joining us here on episode 310 of Defenders of the Bank. You know how we like to end all this stuff as I search for our branding on the StreamYard here. Bye-bye.